According to biblical accounts, in punishment for their wickedness, the Lord rained down burning sulfur over the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, destroying their cities, their people, and everything around them, right down to the vegetation of the land. And while you can argue that the story is just a story, new archaeological evidence shows that not only may the cities have actually existed, we may also now know the truth about how they disappeared.
For centuries, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah has been one of the most chilling accounts in the Bible. A pair of cities so wicked that God himself, according to Scripture, rained down fire and brimstone until nothing was left but smoke, ash, and silence. Many consider it a tale of divine judgment, more allegory than history. Yet in the deserts of the Middle East, buried under thousands of years of sand and salt, archaeologists may have uncovered shocking evidence that these cities were in fact very real. What they found is nothing short of terrifying. Entire layers of destruction preserved in the earth. Human remains so violently burned and shattered that scientists struggle to explain them, and geological scars that suggest a cataclysmic event unlike anything seen in the ancient world. But before we uncover these discoveries, let me pause to remind you, if you're fascinated by archaeology, history, and the mysteries of the Bible, make sure to subscribe to our channel and join us on this incredible journey of discovery. Now, let's step into the ruins of Sodom and Gomorrah. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah appears in Genesis 18 and 19. These were cities located on the fertile plains near the Dead Sea, thriving in wealth and trade. Yet, according to Scripture, their moral corruption was so great that God chose to destroy them. Genesis 19:24-2 records. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those living in the cities and also the vegetation in the land. The account describes a sudden fiery destruction so overwhelming that Abraham, watching from afar, could only see thick smoke rising like that from a furnace. For thousands of years, skeptics questioned whether this was history or myth. Did these cities truly exist? And if so, what could have caused their annihilation? Explorers and archaeologists have long scoured the Dead Sea region, suspecting the remains of Sodom and Gomorrah must lie nearby. The Bible describes the cities as being on the plain of Jordan near the Dead Sea, a region infamous for its barren salt flats and strange geological features. Some early explorers believed the ruins might be beneath the southern end of the Dead Sea, submerged under its salty waters. Others pointed to ancient mounds and ruins along the eastern side in modern-day Jordan. But in recent decades, excavations at a site known as Tal El Hammam have produced startling evidence that may solve the mystery once and for all. Tal El Hammam is an ancient city mound located in the Jordan Valley northeast of the Dead Sea. Excavations led by Dr. Stephen Collins and his team uncovered a thriving Bronze Age city that suddenly and catastrophically ended around 1650 BC. What they discovered shocked the scientific world. Layers of ash, melted pottery, scorched stones, and even human remains bore evidence of temperatures so intense that only a massive fiery explosion could explain them. Some pottery surfaces had turned to glass, requiring heat hotter than a volcanic eruption. Bricks were crystallized in an instant, and skeletal remains were fragmented as though shattered by shock waves. The evidence pointed to something terrifying. Not just destruction by fire, but by an event in the sky. An airburst explosion. Scientists analyzing the evidence compare the destruction at Tal El Hammam to the Tunguska event of 1908 when a meteor exploded in the atmosphere above Siberia with the force of hundreds of atomic bombs, flattening thousands of square miles of forest. At Tal El Hammam, researchers believe a similar cosmic air burst occurred over the city, unleashing unimaginable heat and shock waves. The explosion was so powerful it leveled buildings, incinerated inhabitants instantly, and left the surrounding plain uninhabitable for centuries. The once fertile land, which Genesis describes as lush like the garden of the Lord, Genesis 13 verse 10, became a desolate wasteland. It is here that biblical history and archaeology intertwine. Could this be the very moment when God's fiery judgment fell on Sodom and Gomorrah? The finds at Tal El Hammam are nothing less than terrifying. Archaeologists found skeletons twisted into unnatural postures, as if thrown by an explosive blast. Skulls and bones were broken and splintered, with unmistakable evidence of intense heat and instant trauma. Even the grains of sand had melted into minute glass-like beads called trinitite, a material that would only form under the extraordinary conditions of an atomic explosion. Whole buildings had dissolved into rubble within seconds, their bricks fused together as if they had been engulfed in a burning fire from the heavens. More haunting is the fact that there is evidence of extensive salt contamination throughout the area, possibly from shock waves dispersing Dead Sea deposits over the formerly fertile plains. This would account for why the region was empty for so many centuries, precisely as described in the biblical account of complete destruction. The abruptness of this devastation, the fire and brimstone coming down from heaven, the destruction not only of the inhabitants but of the land itself, all are consistent with the accounts saved in the Bible. At Tal el Hammam, archaeologists have found the material remains of what previously had been considered myth. Scientists can perhaps explain the disaster as a natural cosmic airburst, but to most believers, it is proof of the unmistakable hand of divine judgment. Was it possible coincidence that the extremely rare and destructive event would happen right at the spot the Bible speaks of as Sodom and Gomorrah? The devastation of the two cities was not just an ancient catastrophe, it was a warning. Their destruction represented the repercussions of unbridled corruption, violence, and immorality. As Jude 1 verse 7 insists, Sodom and Gomorrah and surrounding cities, which went after strange flesh, had filled with them all manner of uncleanliness and excess. They serve as an example of those who suffer the punishment of eternal fire. The horrifying finds at Tal el Hammam bring life to that admonition, reminding us that judgment, either divine or natural, can come without notice. The prospect of a cosmic airburst destroying a city can seem far-fetched, but scientists warn that it is still a very real possibility today. Our planet is constantly being hit by space rocks. Most burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere, but bigger meteors, such as the one that is thought to have destroyed Sodom, can and do hit again. Astronomers estimate that such disasters on this scale happen every few thousand years. What was done once in the Jordan Valley might, indeed, be done again to any big city in the world. That is why the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah is more than a simply ancient story. It is a clear warning for today. Even after millennia, the remains of Tal el Hammam remain as mute witnesses to an apocalypse so brutal that it destroyed a city in a moment. The Bible mentions fire and brimstone falling from the heavens, and modern science reveals proof of a gigantic cosmic explosion. Both bring forth the same terrifying tale, a city engulfed in one instant of uncontrollable fire. For some, it is absolute evidence of God's wrath. For others, it is the recollection of a once-in-a-lifetime cosmic catastrophe. But one thing is true, the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah is no legend. Under Jordan's sands, there is ghastly proof that what the Bible left on record was based on frightful fact. And as we look out and wonder at those ruins, one ghostly question remains. If it occurred once, might it occur again? If you enjoyed this exploration, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share with others so that we can keep sleuthing out the secrets of history, archaeology, and religion.